evening, I am Ansmane Sonyasi and this is QTV News coming to you live from our studios on Caraba Avenue. Thanks for joining us. Here are the main local, international and sports news headlines. The first batch of Gambian Hajj pilgrims arrived home safely on Monday night after completing the 2022 Hajj program in Saudi Arabia. The High Court of the Gambia continued its hearings on Monday of a criminal trial of the state versus Boubacar Keita, commonly referred to as Bob Keita, who is on trial for alleged rape. The President's International Award Scheme presented 131 awards to participants in URR, with participants from 3 different schools getting awards. And in international news, today Liberia celebrates its 175th independence anniversary from the American Colonization Society. And in sports news, the Gambian delegation arrived in Birmingham on Monday for the Birmingham 2022 Commonwealth Games. But stay tuned as we bring you more on these and other stories. And here's the news in focus. The first batch of Gambian Hajj pilgrims arrived home safely on Monday night after completing the 2022 Hajj program in Saudi Arabia. Aliou Cissé saw them on arrival and files in this report.
133 Al-Hajjis and Ajaratus from Jeddah landed at the Banjul International Airport at exactly 11:15 p.m. local time on Monday night. The returning pilgrims were received on arrival by joyful family members and loved ones, the Minister of Religious Affairs, Sirif Abbas Sanyang, the President of the Supreme Islamic Council, Sheikh Essa Dabo, and members of the Hajj Commission. Delighted to return home after successfully completing their Hajj, one of the pillars of Islam, they expressed gratitude to Allah for giving them this lifetime opportunity to undergo such a spiritual exercise in Saudi Arabia. Among the returnees, Saul Fraser, CEO of Global Properties, and Karafa Sonko joined fellow returnees to thank the Hajj Commission, the Gambia government, the travel agents, and those who funded their Hajj for a smooth journey.
I think the togetherness, especially the days that you spent in Mina and Arafat, when you just had 2-piece cloth on you, it didn't matter who you were, whether you were a minister, president, or whatever, everybody was equal on that particular day. So that just shows you what life is all about, being humble and, being able to do the things that are important in life.
I must say that Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alamin, in the first place, I must thank Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala for granting me the opportunity to go to this holy kingdom of Saudi Arabia. I must also thank Tuaon Travel Agency and Tours. I mean, I have never seen a travel agency that is so committed, right? That is willing to help, the pilgrims. I mean, it's just amazing, honestly. I mean, I must say that, they have done a wonderful job. I mean, every part of Mecca, every part of Medina we've visited, right? And, everything was just sufficient. Everything was just fantastic.
Sirif Abbas Sanyang, the Gambia's Minister of Religious Affairs, asked that Allah accepts their prayers while on Hajj as He hails all actors for their teamwork.
We thank Allah. We prayed here when they left, and we are now here to receive them. And Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen, we've seen all of them in good health, and their families, I can see the joy on their faces. We thank Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala, the commission members who accompanied them, equally the airline operators who also took them, and because if they had certain hardship, we would have known. But Alhamdulillah, we were monitoring them 24/7, and there has never been any controversial report that we received so far as a ministry, and under whose auspices is the Hajj.
Aja Adlesi of Tuaon Travel Agency, one of the Hajj operators, is proud that the first batch have returned home safe as he thanked all those who choose Tuaon Travel for their Hajj package.
Pilgrims had discipline. I love the discipline in them. And I love the fact that they wanted Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. They were praying. They were going to the haram. At all times, they wanted to be near Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. They did what they were supposed to do. They did their rituals, Alhamdulillah. So definitely, I thank them all. I thank the government through the Minister of Religious Affairs. I thank the Amirul Hajj and the Hajj Commission, mashallah, mashallah, and I thank everybody who was a player in this journey. Definitely, I thank my husband. I thank everybody, mashallah. I thank QTV for being a life partner.
The second batch of Hajj pilgrims is expected to arrive at the Banjul International Airport on Tuesday night at 11:15 p.m. local time from Jeddah. Reporting for QTV News, I am Aliou Cissé.
Yeah, we're happy to have them back home. And just a quick reminder that a second batch of 433 Hajj pilgrims are due to arrive tonight from Mecca, with the flight expected at 11:30 p.m. Now, the High Court of the Gambia continued its hearings on Monday of a criminal trial of the state versus Boubacar Keita, commonly referred to as Bob Keita, who is facing trial for alleged rape. Monday's 5-hour-plus hearing was on a motion by the Defense Counsel asking the court to set aside and order a state of execution against its ruling for DNA examination in the trial. QTV's Mahmoud Lamin Choi reports in an extended report.
A criminal trial between the state and a private citizen has gathered enormous public attention, causing the case to be moved from the Bundung High Court to the High Court in Banjul. In a full-to-capacity courtroom, the trial judge, Mamadou S.M. Jallo, enters the courtroom to hear the motion by the defense, asking the court to set aside and grant a stay of execution against its ruling of the 7th of this month. The order, which was applied for by the state, requested DNA samples be taken from the accused Boubacar Keita, Bibi Mohamed, and Pamori Jom, an alleged boyfriend of the alleged rape victim, and who is not facing a charge. This is meant to establish the father of Baby Mohamed, the child of the alleged rape victim, as part of evidence to determine the merits of the case, thus the innocence or guilt of the accused. Following the court's order, the state have taken the DNA samples of Pamori Jom and the accused Boubacar Keita. The contention is on the DNA examination on Baby Mohamed, who died suddenly shortly after the order was issued. Representing the accused in this hearing is Senior Defense Counsel Lamin S. Kamara and F. Jallo, and for the state is Principal State Counsel Patrick Gomez, A.A. Saho, and A. Job. The Senior Defense Counsel Lamin S. Kamara continued submissions on his motion with the phrase, quote, "He who comes in equity must come with clean hands," end of quote. He argued that the state cannot object to the application on the ground of non-compliance with the court's order 18 days after it was issued on the 7th July. L.S. Kamara quotes the paragraph of the state's affidavit in opposition to the motion, which states that the state has, quote, "prosecutorial discretion to investigate and prosecute criminal offenses," end of quote. Lawyer Kamara tells the court that the respondent, that is the state, has been investigating for over 1 year 9 months when it realizes that DNA is essential for the determination of this case. The defense counsel submits that the police investigation report was filed on November 11, 2019. Quote, "This is a good 32 months when the state knew that DNA evidence is essential and did not conduct it," end of quote, the defense counsel proclaims. He continued his argument that, quote, "In our criminal justice system, you do not arrest, charge, remand, then investigate. Everything begins with a thorough investigation before arrest, charge, and trial," end of quote. He also submits that the state's affidavit in opposition to this motion is without any statement of fact on the possibility of the state conducting DNA investigation within a reasonable time, and that it has not demonstrated anywhere as to how, when, and where it will be conducted. In that, he accused the state of being in contempt of the ruling for non-compliance to it and wasting the court's time. The affidavit in opposition to the motion before the court is challenged by the defense for being quote-unquote incompetent because it was sworn to by one Mariama Ba, a legal clerk of the Attorney General's chamber, on behalf of the applicant. The defense counsel submits that it is not stated where Mariama Ba can swear for or on behalf of Boubacar Keita without authority. Counsel Lamin S. Kamara enjoins the court to throw out the affidavit for being incompetent and defective. In concluding his submission on his motion, the defense counsel requests the court to grant his motion to set aside and stay of execution of the court's order of the 7th of this month, and order the applicant, that is the accused, to open his defense for the offense for which he is charged. He also submits that the court has the power and jurisdiction to stay execution and set aside its ruling. Quote, "This is in the best interest of justice, having regard to the checkered circumstances of this case. You don't seek a court's order and go and sleep, while the accused languishes in mile 2. Responding to the defense counsel, Principal State Counsel Patrick Gomez rises up to give his submission on behalf of the state, which has opposed the motion filed by the defense on 4 main points. The State Counsel Gomez starts by referring to the submission on the affidavit in opposition of the motion, which was sworn to by the clerk of the Attorney General on behalf of the accused. He told the court to deem it as a mere technicality and that the argument should be on the merits rather than technicalities. His second submission is that several points of argument of the defense in the affidavit in support are legal arguments and contravene sections of the Evidence Act, which he quotes and concludes saying arguments in an affidavit should contain statements of fact, not legal arguments. The prosecution then replies to the defense counsel's argument on the conduct of DNA at this stage of the trial and the accusation that the prosecutors are wasting the court's time for requesting DNA examination. He said the state has read the criminal code and the constitution but has not seen stated anywhere that all evidence must be gathered before indictment is filed, arguing that the criminal code even provides that evidence can be filed during trial. He challenges the defense to provide the legal basis of their argument on this issue. The principal state counsel further accused the defense of continuously delaying the trial process. This, he said, is evident in two letters the state had written to the defense regarding conducting the DNA examination. The first letter is said to have been sent to the defense on the 29th of April 2019 and the follow-up on June 14 in the same year. Quote, all these letters were not honored by the defense. End of quote. The state counsel submits. He further submits that this was at a time when the state had called 8 witnesses in the trial. Quote, had the defense accepted the conduct of DNA examination at the earlier opportunity, the case would have been done this time. End of quote. The state counsel told the court. The state counsel reports that the state made formal application for DNA examination on December 16, 2021, which was opposed by the defense on the grounds that it would violate the privacy of the accused. This is the state's application granted by the High Court on the 7th of July, now being challenged by the defense. The state counsel accused the defense of failing to outline to the court its grounds for challenging whether the court has the jurisdiction to give the order of the 7th of July, or whether the order was obtained by fraudulent means, or whether the court made procedural errors. The state argues that the order of the 7th of July was made according to law without error, fraud, and that the High Court does have jurisdiction to make such an order. According to the state's counsel, the motion to set aside and stay execution of the court's order of the 7th of July will further waste the court's time against a speedy and fair trial as dictated by the Constitution. The trial judge has adjourned the case to Wednesday, when it is set for ruling on the motion. Mahmoud Lamin Choi, QTV News.
Now, the President's International Awards Scheme presented 131 awards to participants in URR, with participants from 3 different schools getting bronze and silver awards after completing an intense program of the scheme. Alaji A.F. Jallo attended the ceremony and here's his report.
After 3 years of intense activities in programs linked to the award scheme, 131 participants from the 3 schools in URR bagged bronze and silver awards at a ceremony at Nasir Senior Secondary School Hall. At the presentation ceremony, Samba Bah, the governor of URR, said the PIA programs provide life-changing activities to overcome the hurdles of life. The governor admonished the awardees to uphold the ideals of self-discipline, confidence, and patriotism to achieve a great success.
If you want your country to love you, I think you are the very one who should love your country first. The country is bigger than anybody, and what we inject in the country is what makes up a country. If we inject indiscipline in the country becomes ungovernable. It becomes an indisciplined country. So therefore, it is always important for us to understand that patriotism has to be there all the time. Sometimes we want to take nationalism more than patriotism, but I think nationalism has to go with patriotism. Because if you are a nationalist, you love your country, you have to be sincere and try to inject something that will develop your own country, but not always to think about what the government should do on it.
The Minister of Youth and Sports, Bakari Waibaji, said the program is a non-competitive individual undertaking meant to mold youths to become responsible and productive citizens.
The program aims to ensure that young people are given the skills that they need at an earlier age, but also provide an opportunity for young people to render services to their communities in a bid to contribute their part towards the development of those communities and the development of the country in which they are present or they're participating in it. The program goes beyond providing skills and giving young people the opportunity to provide services, but also creates an opportunity for young people to learn and prepare themselves for adulthood and prepare themselves for leadership role that they will be entrusted in the future.
Senabu Sambo gave the vote of thanks on behalf of the awardees and highlighted the significant impact of the award scheme program.
Please allow me to brief you all about the significant impact the award has made in our lives. The award has made so much impact in our lives and the community we live today. We have conducted voluntary services at religious houses, hospitals, farms, streets, schools, and even homes. A venture that has injected a sense of fulfillment and a recognition of our citizenry duty to our beloved motherland, the Gambia.
The award is centered on gold, silver, and bronze categories, and one must go through skills training, physical recreation, adventure journeys, and perform community outreach to be considered for an award. This year, students from these 3 schools in URR were awarded as follows: Nasir Senior Secondary School, 20 bronze, 55 silver; St. George's Technical School, 18 bronze, 23 silver; and St. Mulumbas Upper Basic School, 4 bronze, 11 silver. There were no gold award winners from this batch of pupils. Reporting for QTV News, I am Alaji F. Jalo.
And that report there by Alaji F. Jalo will lead us to the commercial break, but the news continues when we return.
The Gambia OIC Secretariat, in collaboration with the Office of the President and Imogam Hotels and Resorts, wishes to invite the general public to the foundation stone laying of a 5-star Radisson Blu Hotel by the President of the Republic of the Gambia, His Excellency Adama Barrow, on Saturday, 23rd July 2022 at 4 p.m. The construction of a 5-star hotel is one of the key priority projects in preparation for the forthcoming OIC Heads of State and Government Summit. The hotel will have 400 rooms, including 60 presidential and royal suites. The 5-star hotel will ensure the guests receive a befitting accommodation experience. Additionally, it will diversify our tourism portfolio by providing luxurious accommodation facilities for high-end tourists. Let's come out and support this massive development.
How do you view the current parliament?
Claudine Alawan.
Yes.
What are the benefits?
Think about the roles and responsibility given to them.
A police constable is going home with less than $3,000, saving lives and property. You have your family there. We cannot maintain you visiting your family.
It's not family.
In 2017, you were all given pickups.
Yes.
What happened to those pickups?
When each of you came to us to ask for our votes, you cried to us that you want to make this country different.
That is why.
And you are not making this country different, but making your life different.
Try to caricature these little things that clothing allowances.
These are not little things. All the National Assembly members is from Gunjur right down to Banjul. You get a minivan. How divided is your National Assembly? So far, what we have seen is like schoolboy head boy sip competition. That's what I've seen.
Yes.
Since Sadauda, we had add 1 butut, add 2 butut, add 3 butut. We are sick of that.
State of Affairs, airing tonight at 9 p.m. on QTV.
Welcome back from that commercial break. Be reminded you're following QTV News and we're broadcasting live from our studios on Kairaba Avenue. Now, Hands On Academy held its annual graduation ceremony for Nursery 3 and Grade 6 pupils, respectively, over the weekend at an event attended by officials from the Ministry of Education. Jennifer Sonko tells us more.
Established in 2011, Hands On Academy was founded on the basis of improving quality and access to education. The school started with a nursery school, and in 2014, the school administration expanded to a primary school. Habib Bunyasi, Hands On Academy's headmaster, says the graduation is organized for Nursery 3 and Grade 6 pupils to motivate and challenge them at their next education level, and delved into the successes of the school so far.
In 2019, let me just start from that place. In 2019, by that time, my school we only have grade 4. There was a spelling bee competition that was organized by Sukuta. They call it Sukuta Week of program. So we were invited to participate in that program. Imagine my grade 4 competed with schools that were present there in their grade 6. We came out first. Both the nursery and the primary we took first. So that is a big achievement. We also took part in the first ever NAT exam for grade 3. The first ever out of the 18 in Bruford cluster. We are on the Bruford cluster. We have 18 schools in Bruford cluster. Out of that 18 schools, the Little Hanson Academy became out second with 100% passes in all the subjects. So that's an achievement. History repeated itself in 2020, 2021, 2022 academic year that we are. Our NAT, the same thing. We couldn't take first, but we still maintain our position with 100% marks pass. So now where we are only waiting for the results for first ever NAT grade 5. Which we are also certain that we are going to come up with 100% passes.
The theme of the graduation is values of discipline and the role of parents in education. Thus, to explain the theme was guest speaker Alpha Ba, a systems analyst at the Ministry of Basic and Secondary Education.
Discipline is something that I had come to discuss and see how best children can be nurtured and be disciplined. But considering or given the fact that they have demonstrated a lot of learning, a lot of discipline has happened. So for me, I would say that parents really need to continue encouraging their children to be more disciplined because learning happens at home. Discipline is something that the role of the parent have to do. Before this teacher and the school can come and nurture discipline, the parent has to really play their own part.
Our Sanyang's children are among those graduating, and according to her, since she enrolled her children at Hanson Academy, she has seen significant changes in the way they think, speak and write.
It's a very good school. I'm proud of them, and I can stand anywhere and talk to any parents about the quality of education that Hanson Academy is providing to our children. To the entire Hanson Academy team, I say thank you, bravo, jerejef, njarama.
Here is Ablai Sijalo, the outgoing head boy of Hanson Academy.
I feel so happy because it's my first graduation in LBS, and it's a good day for me because this is my first graduation in LBS.
The school will expand to a junior school next academic year to ensure they retain and continue to nurture their students.
Educated a child means educated a nation. I promise my parents I will be the best child. I am Fatima Cham. I thank you all.
Reporting for QTV News, I am Jenna Basonko.
Impressive. And now we take a look at international news in a moment. Now, Liberia celebrates its 175th independence anniversary from the American Colonization Society. As Dina Basonko reports, Liberia was the first African country to gain its independence, although unusually, it wasn't colonized by another nation, but by an organization.
Liberia was founded in 1822 as a haven to house and settle freed African-American slaves. Liberia has had a turbulent history since, which has hampered its progress as a nation. The country is celebrating two major anniversaries this year. 200 years ago, freed slaves from the U.S. arrived there, and 25 years later, they declared the country to be independent. The founding of Liberia in the early 1800s was motivated by the domestic politics of slavery and race in the United States, as well as by U.S. foreign policy interests. In 1816, a group of white Americans founded the American Colonization Society to deal with what they saw as the problem of the growing number of free blacks in the United States and sought to solve this by resettling them in Africa. The resulting state of Liberia would become the second black republic in the world at the time. The other was Haiti in the Caribbean. While the country celebrates its Independence Day today, many say, as has been said about many African countries, the West African country's promise is unfulfilled, and too many of its people still live in poverty. The country had a 14-year civil war, which killed an estimated amount of 250,000 people between 1989 and 2003. Ellen Johnson Sirleaf was the 24th president of Liberia and the first elected female head of state in Africa. After decades of fighting for freedom, justice and equality in Liberia, in 2011, President Sirleaf got the prestigious Nobel Prize for Peace. In 2018, she became only the second former leader from an ECOWAS state to be awarded the Mo Ibrahim Prize for Achievement in African Leadership. The current president is George Weah, a former professional footballer and the only African to have won the World Player of the Year, African Player of the Year, and the European Player Awards. The latter is for players who play in Europe. Neymoud, a watchdog group supported by the Open Society Initiative for West Africa, says, based on available data and records, only 9 of the 113 promises made by the president during his electoral campaign were completed, constituting 8% of all promises. Almost half of Weah's promises are ongoing and another 44% have not started, or there's little data to provide an assessment, according to Neymoud, which carries out regular reviews called the Weah Meter. President Adama Barrow and Muhammad Buhari, amongst other heads of states, are currently in Liberia to celebrate the country's independence anniversary. Reporting for QTV News, I am Jenna Basongo.
A happy independence anniversary to Liberia. And now on to some exciting sports news. The Gambian delegation arrived in Birmingham on Monday for the Birmingham 2022 Commonwealth Games. 7 athletes have arrived with the rest expected to join them shortly. Our sports reporter Mamoudou Gajaga is with the team and he now reports from Birmingham.
After a long and hectic journey, the Gambian delegation have now settled into their accommodation. Some of the athletes had already started training at the gym, while others are expected to join them soon. US-based Gambian sprinter Wuri Jado arrived last night. The athletics team, Gina Bass, Adama Jame, Sengan Job, Aliou Diouf and Modou Sy are yet to arrive. Judoka Fainjai came just in time from his base in France and met the rest of the Gambian delegation at Birmingham Airport. The Gambian delegation were welcomed at the airport by a team of volunteers and received by Chef de Mission Bakary Jame. They were later transported by bus to the Welcome Center, where COVID tests and accreditation were processed before finally getting to the athletes' village at the Birmingham University campus, where the athletes will be accommodated. The schedule for various sports is out, but not yet the pairings, apart from beach volleyball, which had their pool drawn a few months ago. Boxing will be the first sport in which Gambia will take part in the Games. After the weighing in, the boxer Fode Baji will know his category and opponent. An official welcoming ceremony will be held for the Gambian team at Chamberlain Tower on Wednesday between 18 to 18:30 UK time. The opening ceremony will be on the 28th of July and the closing ceremony is scheduled on the 8th of August. Mamoudou Gajaga for QTV News in Birmingham, England.
Well, we're wishing our athletes all the best in Birmingham. And just a quick reminder before we take a leave of you that a second batch of 433 Hajj pilgrims are due to arrive tonight from Mecca, with the flight expected at 11:30 p.m. Tonight. That's it for this edition of the news. Do join us at 10 p.m. for more news. Until then, on behalf of the entire production team, thanks for watching.